Hello students, welcome back to Mr. Laver's Computing Classroom. Okay, so in this video what we're going to do is we're going to start learning Excel, and I think the best way to do that is just let's open up Excel and then let's get started with a simple exercise. So on the start button, and we type Excel and push the enter key, and this is what you should end up with when you first open it. And what we'll be doing is we'll be starting with a blank workbook. So click on that, and this is the screen that you should be faced with. Now your ribbon at the top may be a little bit different from what I've got, but you'll be able to see through these labels here whereabouts I'm clicking in the different sections of the ribbon. Each section is divided with a vertical line like that, and each section has its own label. Okay, so the thing with Excel is we've got all of these boxes in here, and these boxes are actually called cells. So we've got this cell here which is selected. It's got the square box around it, and that's where we're going to start. So what we're going to do is I just want you to type the word item, and this is what we call a label. Now cells can have either labels, numbers or formulas in them, and we'll talk more about that as we go along, but this is a label. And as you can see, I've typed the word item. I've got a capital I there because presentation of your work is very important to make it easy to read. So make sure that you've typed a capital I and then spelt the word item. Now it's going to be a little bit slow to start with because there's a lot to learn just entering information in, but at the moment this cell is in editing mode, and you can see that the cursor is flicking on and off there. Once we leave that cell and go to the next cell, then the cell will be won't be in editing mode. Okay, so there's a number of ways we can do that. We could simply use the mouse and click in another cell, and that would leave that cell. But it's better practice if you can use the keyboard. Now, we could either push the tab key or the enter key, and we're going to get different responses from that. So I'm going to push the tab key, and if I push the tab key, you'll notice we now go to the cell next door to it. If I was to push the enter key, we would have gone down to the cell underneath. But we wanted to go here because we've got now another label to type up, and this one is going to be quantity, T-I-T-Y. Okay, and we're still in editing mode, so I'm going to push my tab key again, and we'll go to the next one. And in this cell here, we're going to push type the word price. Now this time I want to go back down to this cell down here, and so I'm going to push the enter key, and you can see how we've ended up down here. Okay, so we'll just type a few more labels. We're going to have backpacks in that one, and I'm pushing enter because I want to come down. Pairs of shoes, and enter. Jackets, and enter. And packs of paper. These are all items, and enter. And binders, and enter. And pens, and enter. And erasers, and enter. And finally rulers. Okay. Right, so that's looking good. Now, as you can see, this text here, or this label here, is actually too wide for this cell, and so is this one. So the way to fix that is we go up to the column at the top here, and between the A and the B, if we double click that line, you will see that what happens is the column gets automatically made to the correct width. Okay, so that's all good. Now, what I want to show you at this stage is, at the moment I'm inside this cell here, but the cursor is not there. So it's not actually editing that text. And this is something that, if you haven't already done it, you're going to have to do this soon. So I need to just show you how to do this. If you click in here and start typing, we're going to lose all of that text. So what you can do is, either you can push F2 on your keyboard, and that will start us. That's now put the cursor in there, and we can now make adjustments to that text. So that was F2. The other way, I'll actually go down to the next one now. The other way is, when we have got this cell selected, you will see up in this text box here, which is called the formula bar, we have got the same label or text up here. And if I wanted to, I could make a change to this text here. Okay, and so that's how we edit our cells. Very important. If you're in here and you start editing a cell, this is something else I need to teach you. And let's say we do that, packs of paper, and then I think, oh no, I don't really want that. I want to go back to what it originally was. What you can do is push the escape key up in the top left-hand corner, and that will take it back to what it was originally. Okay, so that's good. Another thing, you'll see that I'm going up and down the cells, and I'm not moving the mouse. Here's the mouse. So I'm doing that with the arrow keys on the keyboard, and this is really good habit and something that you guys should get into. Trying to use the keyboard rather than the mouse to navigate yourself around the this is actually called the worksheet. Okay, so navigating yourself around the worksheet, try to do it with the keys. And then if you use your shortcut keys, for example Control Home, that automatically takes us back to this cell here. Okay, now that's where we want to be, because I want you guys to make this cell bold. So we're going to click on bold, we're going to go to the next one, click on bold, and click on bold. Okay, or we could have done it with the shortcut keyboard using Control B. Okay, we're also going to make all of these bold here too, and to do that we're going to select them all, and the easiest way to do that is to use the keyboard shortcut Control Shift and the down arrow, and you can see now it's selected all of those, and I'm going to go Control B for bold, and now they're all bold. So that's good. And I'm going to make another change to these. These are all headings up the top, or labels, label headings. So I'm going to select all of those, and I'm going to select them all by doing it the same way. Control Shift, but this time the right arrow key, and we select them all. And now we're going to put those as a dark grey background. Okay. So that's looking good. That's what you guys should have at the moment. Okay, now, another thing that I would like to point out to you is that each cell that we're in has got what we call an address. Okay, and we can see the address in this text box up here, which is called the name box, but it's actually the address. And it says C5. Now it gets that because across the top here, all our columns, they are all indicated with letters, from A, B, C, all the way through to, there's an awful lot of them. We'll talk more about that later. And down the left-hand side, we've got numbers. These are all our rows. And the intersection of where our cell is the intersection of C5. So C5 becomes our address. Okay? In every cell we go to, we've got an address. Now you need to remember that because we're going to come back and use those addresses soon. Okay, so these are all labels. That's really good. Now there's only 3 things that we can put into a cell. The first thing is labels, and we've done labels. The next thing are numbers. So we'll put a number in here now, which is going to be the number 3. And the big difference between labels and numbers is that numbers can be calculated. So for example, we can go 3 plus 3 equals 6, and we're going to do that very soon. So we've got 3 backpacks, the quantity of 3 backpacks in cell B2. In cell B3, we're also going to have 3 pairs of shoes. We're going to have 3 jackets. We're going to have 6 packs of paper. We're going to have 3 binders, 3 pens, 3 erasers, and 3 rulers. Now, I was doing all of that with the arrow keys and the number pad on the right hand side. And we're going to have a price for each of these. So it's going to be $8.98 for our backpacks. We're going to be $38.49 for our pairs of shoes, $29.95 for our jackets, $1.19 for packs of paper, $3.98 for the binders. The pens are $2.59. The erasers are 69 cents, and our rulers are 89 cents. Okay, so that's looking really good. But when we're talking about price, we like to see a $sign in front of it. So that's easily done. Up here on our number section of the ribbon, we've got a $sign, so we can just push the $sign, and then it puts a dollar in the front of that. And that makes it more sensible and presents it better for us as people. Okay, and we can do all of those cells at the same time by selecting them all, Control Shift down arrow, and they're all selected, and then we can push that $sign, and they've all got the $sign in front of them. And I'm just looking at these numbers here, and these could be presented a bit better by putting the number in the center. So we're going to Control Shift down arrow to select them all, and up here we've got Center Your Content, so we're going to align them to the center. Okay, that's good. Right, now in this cell D1, what we're going to do is we're going to write total, and you're going to see I'm going to push the enter key, and Excel does a lot of things automatically. In this case, what's going to happen is Excel is going to realize that these over here are headings. They're headings for these columns down here, and Excel is going to realize that this total is also a heading for a column down here, so it will format this cell the same as these cells. So here we go. I'm going to push the enter, and there you go. So there's a little bit of magic done by Excel, made exactly the same format as these headings here. Okay, so we could now get the calculator out and figure out what the total price of our backpacks are, which is going to be there's 3 backpacks, and each one is $8.98, which is going to be very close to $27. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to change this. I'm going to push F2. I'm going to change this to 9. So it's going to be $9, and that makes it very easy because I know that 3 times 9 is 27. Okay? So we could write that in there, and then we'll push the $sign to make it $27. And that would be all good until we were to change the quantity. And let's say we put, I don't know, let's put 5 in there. And suddenly we've got a problem. 5 times 9 is not $27. Now, we're using a computer, and we can use now the power of a computer, where if we change a value here, it is going to recalculate out this value. And this is the benefit of a computer. I mean, if we don't have that, we just use paper, and you know, we can do it on paper. But what we really want to be able to do is be able to change these values here and then have this total automatically calculate out. And to do that, it's really quite simple. All we need to do is we need what's called a formula. Remember I said before that there were 3 things that we could have in a cell? They were either labels, as we've got here, they are numbers, as we've got here, or a formula, which is a calculated cell. Now, so we're going to put a formula in here. Here we go. This is what you need to remember. All formulas begin with an equal sign. That's really important. Okay? Now we could go 3 times 9 is going to give us the correct answer, but it's still not going to work. I'll show you why. If we go 3 times 9 and then I push enter, it's come up with 27. Well, that's really good, but once again, if I change this, we've now got the wrong answer here. So 3 times 9 is not going to work. We need to do it a better way. I'll just quickly put that back to 3. Okay, like I said, all formulas begin with an equals. Now we're not going to put in here 3, but what we are going to do is put the address of this cell. And this cell here is addressed B2. So we're going to type B2, and then we're going to use the times. Now the times is not the X. On a computer it is the star, which is on your number pad on the right hand side just above the 9. And so we've got times, and then we're going to times this value here, but we're not going to put 9 in, we're going to put the address in, which is C2. So here we go, C2. And then if I push enter now, great, we're back at 27. But I'm going to now show you the real benefit, because if I change this to 5 and push enter, this automatically changes to 45. And this is the real benefit of using a computer over paper and using Excel. Okay, so that's good. So what we need to do now is we need to put a formula in for all of these items down here. So it's very simple. We just go equals, and this one is B3 times C3. Okay, equals B4 times C4. Okay, right, you guys get the idea? So we need to carry that on right down to the bottom. But I'm going to do it once more, and then I'm going to show you a slightly easier way. So this one is equals to B5, which is this cell, times C5. I'm going to show you a faster way now. I can just push equals, And then rather than type the address, I can just click on the cell and it's automatically put the address in there, B6 times, and click there, C6, and enter. There we go, much easier. Equals B7 times C7 equals, enter, sorry. And I've made a mistake, so there we go. I'm going to push escape to get out of that. Equals that times that gives us the answer. Equals that times that gives us the answer. Excellent. Okay, so there we go. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make these all bold, and we will also put a border on the right hand side of this. So if I select all of those cells, I go up here, we've got borders, I drop that down, we're going to put a right side border on that just to indicate that the total is the quantity times the price. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit of magic that we can do with Excel, because we've got some data here, and we can chart that data or graph it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to get you guys to select the first two columns. Now I'm doing this with my shift key, and holding the shift key down and using the arrow keys, and now to select down to the bottom, shift, control, and the arrow down selects those. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go insert. We've got the charts section of the ribbon, and we're going to choose a pie chart, and we could use a 2D chart, but we're going to use a 3D chart because they look pretty good. So there we go. That's how quickly and easily that we can make a chart. Okay, so we're nearly finished with this first exercise. What we're going to do now is, what I want to show you is also some of the power is that if we wanted to change now some of this data, and I want you guys to do this, and we decided no, we don't want 3 pairs of shoes, we want 4. When I get out of that cell, it adjusts the chart. It'll also adjust the price here, and we decide no, we don't want 3 pairs of jackets, we want 2 pairs of jackets. We'll have 10 packs of paper, and you can see the chart changing all the time now. We're going to have, we'll have 8 binders, we'll have 12 pens, and we'll have 10 erasers, and let's have 6 rulers. And there we go. Okay, so I've shown you how to enter basic data into an Excel spreadsheet. We've entered labels across the top and down the side here. We've entered numbers. Numbers are actually called our data. And we've entered formulas, which are calculated cells. Remember that every formula has to begin with an equal sign. That's very important. That's what makes it a formula. And then we multiply the addresses. We've inserted a chart. Here's our chart. And we've discovered that the chart and as well as the calculated fields all update if we update our data here. And that will also change to, that also applies to our price. Let's take this price back to $8.98 like it was originally, and that's going to change that total there. Okay, so the next thing is we just need to save our work. So click on the Save button, click on Browse, Your Documents, and this first exercise we're doing, we're going to call it item expenses and save that. And if you guys could hand your work in like that, and then I'll see you guys in the next video.